Hi One Life families, it's Erin here. We are diving into chapter 4 of Gospel in Color. The chapter is called What is Reconciliation? And this one was kind of, it was really interesting because we've also been working with our new family Bible program, which is Compassion in Action, and the story of the prodigal son was the focus on both this chapter and the first story that we learned in there. So it was really interesting just to see the focus of reconciliation for this this resource, and then for that one it was all about compassion. And I loved how those two kind of collided and just how important those are in our life, and just reconciliation, and how we need that compassion to see it first, and then to act on it, and just how we can have those things happen. Yeah, those are just two things I've been really thinking about. So anyways, that just wanted to bring that up because those were two things that really came into focus for me this week. Just the idea of reconciliation, and especially in this case, racial reconciliation, and really mending the broken relationship between different ethnic groups. And I know this is something that I have done, not necessarily intentionally, but it's happened. And it was just a really good reminder about how, like, this, again, the sin that came into the world, and the fact that Jesus died for all of it. He died for race, and he died for racism. I mean, not race, he died for racism, and also just this idea of coming together, and talking about how these enemies can become friends, or not necessarily even enemies, but just like different ideas that can also be unifying. They touched about the Jews and the Gentiles, and how that was just a really important piece for Jesus too, as he was teaching that he is there for all, and that he died and rose so followers could be reconciled to God, but also to experience and pursue this unifying, reconciling love for one another. So just those ideas too, that like he's died for us to be closer to him, and we to be closer to others, and that how he died for just all those sins, and just kind of getting that point across to our kids too, as we kind of talk about that, and that he really is just this loving father, like the story that wants to welcome us home, and to unify each other as we're doing it, because it's us with God, and I guess us with other people. And yeah, just continue to kind of focus on those things too. I did feel like there was a really important piece at the end. I felt like the author was probably talking to Black and people of color, saying that they can forgive those who have caused hurt to them. But I felt like it was really important for us as people who are white to remember that forgiving someone doesn't necessarily mean that they're pretending that it didn't hurt, right? And that was really important, and that we have work to do to earn this reconciliation, in the sense that we must seek to make things right. We need to undo any damage that we've done, and then we need to face the consequences of our actions. And I just felt like those are really important things to remember, that this doesn't mean that we're off the hook in that, and that I know as I've been digging deeper into sort of social justice and what that looks like for me and my family, and I know that means that I do need to think about my past and how I have been racist, and own it. And in a weird way, it's kind of freeing, because I feel like a lot of times we hold on to that idea that, like, we get so defensive, like we hear that word and we're like, no, that's not me. But because we live in a society where we are at this point considered to be in power, and until that changes, like, we have done harm to others. And I think that was just an important piece to remember, that we need to own it, and we need to make sure that we are doing the work in that place too. So anyways, I love this chapter. I think talking with your kids really just about that word of reconciliation. I think that for us, when we were chatting about it really was a lot of the conversation about the prodigal son and how, like, did the dad have to do that? Like, I mean, but how do you think the son felt when he came back? And just like that idea of really just, you know, mending of a brokenness, and just how powerful that is. So hopefully you found that to be powerful as well. We have one more session of the Gospel in Color. Next week we're going to be talking about the conclusion, and I hope you've enjoyed really just kind of talking with your family about some of this stuff. So we'll see you next week.